Hello, my friends. Welcome to Story Time. Tonight I'm going to tell you a story about, and I got a new chimey thing. I'm still working on that. I'm going to tell you a follow-up story. Not really a sequel, but a related follow-up story about toast. There's it could be an encyclopedia. Does anybody know what an encyclopedia is now? I could write an encyclopedia about toast. But tonight, very specifically, we're going to talk about tide pool toast. Tide pool toast. So, I've been very blessed to live near the beach for many years, and within that blessing is a sub-blessing, I suppose, that I have walked the beach many times, many miles, many hours, enjoying just walking the beach. And as the tide goes out, especially closest to low tide, you see the tide pools. The tide pools are a little sad sometimes because little fishies get caught in them, and then the tide pools disappear into the sand. So a tide pool is, in my experience, I don't know what the Google says a tide pool is, but you got big ones and you got little ones. You can have a giant tide pool that's like a lagoon. The ones you see on your walk near your feet are, anywhere from the size of your foot to a few feet across. And as the tide goes out, they get sort of left behind, but it's all sand and it doesn't hold water very long. So the water just slowly drains down into the sand in the bottom of the pool. And sometimes you're walking along, there's a little fish in there, and you can't save them all. I tried. And, but you just can't pick them all up fast enough. But the lady says, and the birds get to eat, and all sorts of magic happens with Pachamama. So anyway, it is what it is, but the experience of tide pools for me, on a small scale, is seeing them disappear on my walk along the beach. And so, tide pools. Now, what's that got to do with toast? I bet you're wondering. And so the answer is, of course, toast can have tide pools as well. And I only learned this recently. See, the lady eats gluten-free bread. And if I recall correctly, I may not be completely right about the details of this, but I believe it is corn-based. So normal bread is wheat, gluten-free bread is corn, and it's much more porous. It's a different texture. It has a different feel and different experience, but it's more porous. It has little bubbles in it. So in a slice of gluten-free bread, you cut across lots of air bubbles inside. So as you're toasting it, these become little pools for butter. Now, recently, the lady requested might be a strong word, may have offered. I'm generally the instigator. I'm generally the snack instigator, not always, but I believe I offered her toast and she took me up on it. In any case, we're getting ready to go to bed and we decided we'd have toast. So I make some toast for both of us, and separate skillets because we don't want to get gluten in the gluten-free zone. So I'm double toasting. I'm dual wielding cast iron skillets with toast in 2 different places, folks. Do not try this at home. This is I spent many years in the toast monastery learning to do this. So don't jump right in there. Make it a long-term goal. But so I'm making toast in 2 different skillets at the same time. takes my toast a bit longer, partly because of the texture of the bread, and partly because difference in burners. I don't know if y'all are at that place in life yet where you know your stove burner intimately, but that back burner runs a little cooler. So anyway, my toast is taking longer. So what I do is turn down the heat on the lady's toast because it's done. It's perfectly golden brown. And because she's only having one piece of toast, it's very uniformly roasted because I can put it in the center of the skillet. When you're making two pieces of toast, there's a bit of a spectrum, there's a range. But not on this night. On this night, we are able to roast the lady's toast very uniformly. This is going to be a delicacy. She's in bed, in fact. I'm going to bring her toast in bed at bedtime snack. And so, turn the heat down on hers, let it continue to roast slowly all the way through. And I finished my toast, so point being, hers takes a bit longer. It gets crisped a bit more deeply, crispy most of the way through, and I put a bit of extra butter, bit of extra butter. It's hard to talk about, but as I'm getting ready to serve the toast, I think, it needs just a little bit more butter. And now the toast is just warm. It's not hot because I've just had it slow roasting for a while. And I spread one more bit of butter across it very uniformly. And the butter begins to melt into the toast very slowly. But it's like the tide pools. So the butter sinks into those little craters in the toast. And it sits there a bit, still solid, as it melts slowly and then it disappears into the little tide pools in the toast. I got it to her while this was still happening so that she could get to enjoy watching the last of the butter, the top off butter, because it was almost perfect, but it needed just a touch more. She got to see the top off butter sink gently into the toast. So this is another snack epiphany that just came to me, folks. I don't know what's going on with me, what sort of spiritual transition I might be making. It's also toast, and so like they say, when you smell toast, you might be having a stroke. And so I don't know what happens when you reach the level of toast fever dreams that I have, but I know it's yummy, and that's really all that matters, So tide pool toast. You got to get the temperature just right. The toast has to be, the experience will be heightened with a piece of toast that is crunchy most of the way through because it's going to be more like a sponge. It's going to soak up the butter uniformly. But like always, you do your toast however you want. That was just an experience I thought I should share because it felt like when they do the fancy artwork in the creamer in your coffee sort of thing, you're already looking forward to the yummy thing, but now you've got this warm little art to enjoy as an appetizer before you consume your snack, and that matters. That matters. Anything we can do to enjoy snack time a little bit more, I think we should take the time to do. So I hope you enjoyed hearing about that tonight, and I hope that you'll give it a try, perhaps. Be a little fancy with your toast. And I hope you drift off to sleep tonight with a happy tummy, warm heart. And I hope that you feel safe and loved. Sweet dreams, my friends.